Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it appears that Duet Night Abyss is coming out with its third set of devs listening notes. But I'm going to be honest, there's a couple of things that I need to say about this game. If you've been keeping up with the streams, if you've been keeping up with the upload schedule, if you've been even just keeping up with the conversations that I've been having in my videos, then one thing you might have realized is that I actually have not been streaming Duet Night Abyss very often. And the reason for that is kind of simple. I feel like I've beaten the game. Yes, I reached TR level 55, I got my Psyche, I got as many dupes as possible of her, got her weapon, geared her up, demon wedges, all of that, and then I cleared up to like Act 20 of the Immortal Theater, and then I was just like, okay, what else really is there to do right now? I've met my level goals, I've met my grinding goals, I've beaten the whole endgame. What really is there for me to do until the next reset? And, well, I'm kind of just at the point where I realized if I just grind to 60, then when I'm at 60, what am I gonna do? Just keep grinding until the next reset? And I realized with other games coming out, with other things going on, right? Where Winds Meet, Wuthering Waves 2.8, this is kind of like the time for me to step away from the game until the next theater reset with Fina, until 1.1 comes out. And it seems like, ladies and gentlemen, it's not just me that's thinking that. Because unfortunately, I think a couple of the cracks with the game's end game design are starting to show right now. Having a theater reset once a month, when the theater is kind of like the only end game content in the game outside of grinding, is a bit rough. And I think a lot of other people who actually greatly enjoyed the game, like I did during its early couple of weeks, went on that grinding train and played for an ungodly amount of time. Well, I think they've all realized that there's not really too much to do other than just grind more. And I'm looking for, you know, a little bit more diversity, right? I find the grinding in the game fun, but what I also find fun is playing Where Winds Meet. And so I can either play 5 hours in here, get one TR level, right? Go from 58 to 59, or I could spend 5 hours in another game. And that's one of the downsides of a game like this, right? Where it's not gacha, where you're basically free to grind as much as you want. That also gives that feeling in the back of my mind, right? And I'm pretty sure a lot of other players, because a lot of people aren't playing or watching it right now, are having this same feeling. They're just thinking, oh, I can make it up later, right? Oh, I can just dedicate a day or two when I have a bit more free time, or when Where Winds Meet or Wuwa's in like a dead state. Then I can go in and just like, you know, sink 10 hours into the game and then make it up there. A lot of people are thinking like that, just like me. And one of the things that they're waiting for to begin that 10-hour regrind to catch back up is news on the future of the game. And it appears that that's what the Duet Night Abyss devs have prepared for us. I think they recognize that there are some big issues with the endgame loop and player retention right now, and that's why they've come out with this. It's one of the longest notes I've ever seen. And so what I wanted to do today was actually just walk through it with you and give my take on how this is going to improve, or potentially not actually improve, the current issues going on with the game right now. Luno's Bulletin 3, future version updates and optimizations. Dear Fox Hunter, nice to see you again. We have been closely monitoring and collecting your recent feedback through various channels. To ensure thorough discussion and feasibility of optimization plans, this issue of Luno's Bulletin has been delayed. So this is the first thing to keep in mind. I think that the devs are really in a state of like constant movement. I wouldn't necessarily call it panic, but the fact that they're kind of like openly admitting that this one should have come out sooner, but that there were like last minute updates because of some of the feedback coming in. It's like a combination of, we're working pretty hard right now, but we're also trying to listen as much as we can, and that's resulted in this one being delayed so that we can incorporate as much of the feedback as we could. So yeah, they're apologizing for the wait over here. Let's just see if they actually cooked with this one. First and foremost, upcoming content. Next Tuesday, November 25th. This is an important one. That's like around Thanksgiving. Fina and her weapon will be released, and you'll be able to get her secret letters in the immersive theater, and then Psyche, her weapon, will move to Nocturnal Echoes. So the new weekly, or sorry, the weekly boss mode where you can only enter 5 times a week, that's where Psyche's gonna go to, and then Fina's gonna end up in the immersive theater instead. So you should be able to get her I1 if you do the end game. And I think we've all gotten a preview, a little bit of a preview of her kit. She is looking relatively powerful. For more details, you can just take a look at this notice over here, stuff like that. It's just news on like the theater reset. Lisbel enjoyers, it's not Lumino actually, despite Fina being a Lumino character. I do actually believe that this one is going to be, oh yeah, a Nemo and Umbro damage. Looks like you won't be using her again. Hey, maybe you'll be able to use her next month. Anyways, yeah, it's not like I told you guys, why don't you just build the character, like, why don't you, like, wait to build your characters, until you find out who's going to be usable in the end game, and then you go I6 that unit. Anyways, yeah, so I don't want to say that I told you so. Sorry, let me just pull up my video because I need to take a moment to bask in this. Yeah, I remember when I made this video over here. Yeah, I said Lisbel is a beginner trap, and then I got mass disliked. I got mass disliked by a bunch of lolicons that were insisting that the next tower reset or the next immersive theater reset was going to be Lumino because Fina was Lumino. Yeah, guys, that was 2 weeks ago. Once again, maybe you'll be able to use your Lisbel in 2026. Wait, actually, that's probably when it's going to happen. It'll literally be next year. Great job. I'm glad you guys built her in week 1 and 2. By the way, Genazad built Lisbel as well. Oh. I'm afraid that if I make a comment on that, I'm going to be accused of calling somebody a PDF again. So I'm just not going to say anything about that because I think if I said a single word about it, I would just get more accusations that I was hurling accusations again. Fork found in kitchen. Anyways, back to the notes. Lisbel enjoyers are in shambles. Fina's a young girl who rarely goes out. Nobody. I don't think that this belonged in here. We'll just wait for her character trailer. That was just some introductions about Fina and all of her. Now they're going to get into the actual updates, optimizations, bug fixes, all of that. So regarding bugs and optimizations, we are addressing them one by one. Daily fixes will be communicated via in-game update notices. Meanwhile, after refining our cheat detection rules, we are continuously banning accounts found using third-party programs. So yeah, they're on a bit of a banning spree at the moment. The full list of banned accounts can be viewed via in-game notices. We've also noted your valuable suggestions for improvements, and after careful discussion, here's what we can share. And guys, they're coming out with 6 meaningful changes based off of feedback. 1. Inactive Genimons potential locking. So this is essentially, Genimons are one of the ways that you kind of grind in the end game. You go ahead, you try to capture all these Pokemon, and sometimes there are certain types of Genimon, inactive ones, that have very strong traits that you can transfer to your other Genimons. And so now Genimons with gold traits or potentials are now auto-locked. So some people probably accidentally consumed really, really good traits because they weren't auto-locked, and this is essentially there to hopefully mitigate that. They're then going to distribute some actual Genimons in the mail for some people to kind of make up for, I guess, some of the lost ones that were already had before. But that mailing isn't going to happen until the 1.1 update. The Bard's Tome, or essentially the Battle Pass level cap, is increased to 100. So yeah, originally the cap before was 50, and I got it done in 1 week. Yeah, I got their 1+ month Battle Pass done to level 50 in 1 week. So level 100 probably actually makes sense, and they're going to be giving out a lot of things like coins, resources, and perhaps most importantly of all, commission manuals. A good number of them in the Battle Pass for, I assume, the next 50 levels. So that's going to make progression and monetization feel a lot better, and is likely something that makes a lot of sense, especially considering how not beneficial monetization actually was for a lot of players at launch. Demon Wedge equip logic. Previously, you could only equip 2 purple stackable Demon Wedges, but not 1 purple and 1 gold. Now, both are allowed. Okay, this is something that I was personally struggling with because the idea was that certain Demon Wedges can be equipped multiple times once they're +5. But if you got a gold version of that multi-equipable one, then you needed to have other gold ones as well to equip multiple. But now you can combine both, which is quite nice and makes way more sense for progression, because I actually had this, a gold blaze resolve, but I'm not using it because I want to have 2 on my build. So I'm using 2 purple ones instead. That's a good bit of clunk out of that trunk. They've also added a teleport function to some commissions. People that are giga far away can now just teleport with the prompt. Okay, that's good to save time. Grappling hook points are now added to certain commissions for faster travel. Great, because some of them do have a lot of distance in between, and the grappling hook should help. And they're going to have mobile UI customizations, so you can basically map out where all your different buttons are going to be, which should help out a lot for mobile players. Overall, all these fixes look good, but I'm not gonna go ahead and say that these fixes are like dramatically changing a lot of the issues that I talked about before. I think that they're going ahead and they're smoothing out some areas of friction regarding the game, but I don't necessarily think it's addressing things like the end game loop, the end game grind, or really like motivations and incentives to play outside of just building stuff. Because that's kind of like what it is. It's just building characters and building weapons. And that's what it is after you're done with the theater. Due to limited development resources and to ensure version stability, these optimizations will go live with the 1.1 update. We sincerely apologize for any inconvenience caused by current unfinished features. To accelerate progress, we are actively expanding our team. So that essentially means that they're hiring new people, growing the company to make faster updates to the game. That, to me, leads me to believe that the game is actually doing somewhat well. It doesn't make a lot of sense for a game that wasn't doing at least somewhat decently to openly say that they're trying to hire more people and grow the team. Maybe that's like an internal view of like some of their financials. I don't really know. This could also be like a giga bait, and they're like saying this even when the game isn't doing well, but that doesn't feel like it makes that much sense either. So I would imagine that they were maybe expecting a bit less of a successful launch, and what they actually got was a bit better than what was expected. So yeah, maybe the game's actually in a fantastic spot, and now with the numbers that they were able to achieve on launch, they've secured more investor funding and can now grow the team and make the game even better than it was before. That's what it could be. But yeah, they're mainly just asking us for patience so that they can deliver richer and better content. And like I said before, I hope it's going to address the big issues with the end game, the grind, all of that, incentives that I talked about before. They surely got a couple of thinking hats ready. But they've still come out with some previews to show the work that's currently being done. And I'm going to be honest over here. They're showing out the new 1.1 areas. They look pretty damn good. That looks nice. That looks great. That's like 3 different lightings of the same exact area. Kind of looks almost like, some of them kind of look like different games. I just want to say it's well done. It's all well done. As the first major expansion for Duet Night Abyss, Huashu, don't cancel me, this December will launch Chapter 1, introducing a new region map. Remember, this December, introducing a new region map, new event story and gameplay, new characters and weapons, new characters and weapon skins, and new demon wedges. Sounds like some great overall additions to the game. This is basically all you could really ask for at this point. I think the only one that they're missing over here is like new genie mods. New genie mods and new traits, but I don't really feel like those are quite that necessary yet. We hope this showcases more of Duet Night Abyss's potential. I think they've realized that maybe not having 1.1 on launch did make the game feel a little bit capped. One thing in particular that I'm excited to see expanded on more in this game is the story. Because I think the story is genuinely, extremely, very good. Like, extremely good. Unbelievably good, actually, for a launch story. So I'm hoping that that part continues to get carried forward into 1.1. So stay tuned for more details in the mid-December livestream. It seems like the 1.1 update might be dropping closer to the end of December. That is kind of like a long, it seems like maybe like a 6-7 week sort of cycle that they got going on, but we'll just have to see. They're continuously optimizing the global launch version, and to better understand your suggestions and feedback, they prepared a survey and invite you to complete it in-game or by clicking here. The survey covers a wider range of topics, including device performance, commission gameplay experience, basically the grinding, secret letters, acquiring characters and weapons, and monetization. Oh boy, do they need some fixes to monetization. We sincerely hope you can take a moment to share your thoughts. Your input will help us improve Duet Night Abyss. So yeah, just another kind of like statement over here to say, please keep giving us your feedback. We're still trying to make the game better. We're looking for specific issues that you guys are having, and we look forward to building a better game together with you. Yeah, this is the thing, right? They haven't necessarily come out with any like wide sweeping updates yet. They're saying a lot of this stuff is being saved for 1.1, and that's why I'm waiting until 1.1, right? Seeing a lot more about how they're actually going to integrate a lot of these things that they're talking about, and of course, address some of the main pieces with the endgame loop. I hope to see more news coming out about about more of the updates that they're going to be making, because unfortunately, this game is releasing in one of the biggest times of competition. And with Duet Night Abyss as a game where you don't have like a stamina system, you aren't necessarily incentivized to log in for longer than 1 minute a day. And, you know, there's just the ability to put the game down for 2 weeks and not lose anything. That is actually going to lead to a lot of people actually doing that in this time of competition when there's not a lot of incentives beyond just grinding, and then grinding so you can grind more to play the game. Because that's kind of like what it is. A lot of people, they have like a goal, right? It's the idea of like this carrot. And currently in Duet Night Abyss, there's no more carrots anymore. We've eaten them all. If you're like TR55 and then you completed the end game, there's no more carrots anymore. And so while gacha games use like the stick to poke you from behind by saying like, oh, by the way, guys, if you don't log in, you won't have the energy to be able to go grind your equipment and go roll on it. And so like, you got to log in every day. Otherwise, like you're going to lose out on all these resources. And so that's how gacha games get you to keep playing. They motivate you to avoid loss. While in Duet Night Abyss, because there's no motivation to avoid loss, there's no like daily wave plates, daily stamina, any of that, right? Then you gotta have something in front of you that drives you forward. Because you don't have anything poking you from behind. And right now, there's just not a lot of things to like lock in on to keep you moving forward other than grinding characters. There's just not really anything. Wait, why is everyone going, huh? Poking from behind? Okay. So this just leads me to assume you guys are all gay and have been anally penetrated. Don't put that in the video. We deeply appreciate every Fox Hunter for your ongoing understanding, patience, and support. We are always listening. Once concrete optimization plans are finalized, we will promptly share updates via future bulletins. I think this is basically a promise from them saying that there's even more changes coming up, but they're going ahead and they're kind of like drip feeding stuff to us because they know that a lot of stuff in the game does feel a little bit jank, and they're working even more to, you know, straighten that out. So I think it's good news, but I still need to see the full picture. As a token of our gratitude, please accept the following gifts included with this Luno's Bulletin. Be sure to log in and claim them in time. So 30 secret letter clues. That's like, okay, in reality, if you're somebody that's in the end game loop, 30 secret letter clues is essentially like, it's nothing, right? Like 30 secret letter clues is kind of like literally like nothing, because you will get that in like 3 commissions. You'll like accidentally get more than that just like playing the game. You're also gonna get 2 or 3 commission manual volume 2s. These are the ones that give like 200% rewards. They're like cool, yeah, Not like bad, but I'm not gonna lie and say that these are like the craziest, most absurd gifts ever. They're gonna like dramatically change your gameplay. They're just like nice things that should speed a couple of things up, but nothing dramatic. Overall, I would say these patch notes look decent. They're definitely addressing some of the issues with the game, and they're definitely, you know, it shows that they are listening to feedback. But like I said before with my little preamble at the start, I think that there are kind of like some deeper rooted issues with the end game that definitely need to be addressed a little bit further. I'm excited to hear things like the immersive theater reset is shortened from 28 days to 14. Something like that. And then like the secret letters are instead in like a, you know, they're instead bought in the shop with like the tokens that just like unlock. I think that just the way that they have things set up right now is not conducive to like any audience, if I'm frankly being honest. It seems like they're trying to go for kind of like the Warframe kind of audience while also appealing to the gacha audience at the same time with like the dailies. But kind of like the end result is that it feels like neither part is getting like fully addressed properly, where it's like, okay, if you're playing, if you're designing in the Warframe sort of way, you're almost expected to quit Warframe for like a couple of months. Like, that is, like, genuinely, I think the expectation that, like, the devs of Warframe have is that you're gonna log in, play the game for, like, a week, giga grind everything like crazy, and then, like, quit for, like, 2 months. And in Duet Night Abyss, when people, like, bum rushed to TR55, cleared all the endgame, did all of that, that was, like, their moment to sort of, like, okay, I'm done with the game for now. I did everything I wanted to. Now I'm gonna quit for 2 months. But then you have the daily system, and, like, the events and all of that kind of, like, bringing you back in. So, there's, like, I think there's, like, a bit of a split going on over here. I'd rather just see them kind of, like, focus a bit more in, like, one direction. And do a better job at the split. Because it just, right now, like, 28-day endgame resets is just, it just doesn't make any sense. It makes literally no sense at all. That'll be it for me. That'll be it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. This also, again, does explain why there hasn't been as much Duet Night Abyss content getting streamed, getting uploaded, all of that. Because there's just really not much else to do in the game right now other than just, like, level up a bunch of characters. So you can level up more characters. And, well, I've got other shit to do with my life. That'll be it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you thought about this one. And peace out.